Welcome back to the Mind Body Business Podcast. I'm your host, Jane Bellante. So excited to be here today. Last week, I had some issues with my mic. I was going live from our home in Sedona that we were renting for our karmic clearing retreat. And so I apologize about that, but I am back this week in my studio, and tomorrow is November 11th, 11/11. And it's one of those days that energetically, it always feels like a doorway. And whether you believe in portals or numbers or energy alignments or not, that doesn't matter. What is undeniable is that we are in a collective moment that's asking us to wake up, to stop moving unconsciously through the motions of our life, like doing the same thing all the time and our businesses, and start recognizing just how powerful every single choice we make really is. Because that is what this 11/11 energy is about. It's about awareness and expansion and the realization that we are active participants in everything unfolding around us. We're not just passive observers. So today I want to talk to you about that power and about opening your mind to what's actually possible. Because we forget. We forget, and we live in that hamster wheel, and we do the same things over and over and over. So we want to talk about understanding that your entire life, your relationships, your business, your energy, your habits, it's a direct reflection of every thought, every belief, and every single decision you've made up to this moment. And I'm not saying that to create pressure inside of yourself or to have you feel guilty about something. I really am saying that to remind you just how much influence you already hold right now to shape what is coming next. Welcome to the Mind Body Business Podcast. I'm your host, Jane Bellante. And this show is about what happens when you stop separating your life, your work, and your well-being and start leading all of it from truth. Each episode will explore the connection between your thoughts, your body, and your business so you can create a life and success that actually feels good. Let's get started. So let's get into it. I am live on my business page on Facebook right now, and maybe you're here with me live, or maybe you are watching the replay on YouTube or listening to the replay on Apple or Spotify. Either way, I'm super excited that you're here. So let's take a second right now to look around your life. And I want you to take a look at your business, at your relationships. And this one's super important because this is the key to everything. Look at how you feel in your body. Because everything that exists in this moment is a result of a series of choices that you have made, big and small. And some of those choices were intentional. Some were made out of fear or habit or old programming. And yet they all brought you here. And if you trace your path back, you'll probably notice that the moments that felt the most difficult, like the heartbreaks or the disappointments, the closed doors, they were actually turning points. So maybe a project that you were working on didn't work out and it led you to something that fits you better now. Maybe a relationship ended and that loss became the doorway to finding yourself again. Or maybe you failed at something only to realize that was never really aligned to begin with. And this is pointing to the fact that every single experience, even the ones you never would have chosen, the ones that like hurt the most, they've shaped who you've become. They've given you data, they've built wisdom, and they've trained your intuition. And when you start looking at life through that lens, you begin to see how much purpose exists inside of those patterns. Like the mistakes that you think were mistakes, they weren't actually mistakes. The delays weren't punishments, they were shaping you and redirecting you. And they were refining your awareness so that now you can stand here on the edge of this new moment with clearer eyes and really a stronger sense of who you actually are. So here's where it actually gets powerful. If every past choice has shaped who you are right now in this moment, then every new choice you make from this point forward is shaping who you're becoming, right? And that means that your future isn't random, it's actually responsive. Which, if you think about it, this gives you massive power if you choose to step into it. And, tomorrow is 11/11, and this 11/11 portal is often seen as a time of manifestation, but I kind of like to think of it as more of like a mirror. And it's a mirror that reflects back what you've been focusing on, what you've been believing in, and what you've been embodying. And I think that being in Sedona for an entire week, surrounded by the energy, the vortex energy, it's just like, I don't know, it's super peaceful. It is very powerful. And I've stepped back into my day-to-day life with a different perspective. Like and that's why and I said this last week, I said this in a post last week as well, like to allow yourself to take these sort of pauses in your own life so that you can reflect back. I know what I've been focusing on, and not all of it has been amazing. A lot of it's been, my pattern of I don't belong, I'm not good enough, I'm never enough, there's never enough. It's my own pattern that takes me into my lack hole, right? So, what have you been focusing on? Like, really, really get honest with yourself because that reflection becomes your roadmap, right? When you focus on lack, you see more evidence of lack. And so, if you've been focusing on lack, what are you seeing around? What are you seeing around yourself? What are you seeing in your business? What are you seeing in your life? If you've been living from fear, you're going to find more situations that reinforce that fear. And on the other hand, if you've been living from love and trust and openness, you're going to feel that expansion mirrored right back to you. Because nothing is being done to you, everything is being created through you. Does that make sense? Hey, Kelly and Miss Kim. Kim and Pam, I'm super excited to see you this afternoon. Woo, I am absolutely on fire after Sedona, I am telling you. So nothing is being done to you. Everything is being created through you. And that is where your power lies. And this is the kind of awareness that changes everything because once you really understand that your outer world is an echo of your inner world, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for the external world to tell you that you're good enough. And this is when you start leading from alignment. And it feels good in your body. That's the thing that matters the most, right? It feels good in your body. We are so conditioned to walking around in anxiety all the time, in fear, in lack, comparison, perfectionism, overthinking. And once we have that awareness that everything is being created through you, like your thoughts create your life, right? That's where your power lies. I want to say it again. Say it again. Because it's like the Spider-Man thing, like with great power comes great responsibility, right? With awareness, you now have responsibility because you can't unsee what you've seen. You're aware of it now. You've heard me say this before. You can go put it in the closet, but you know it's in the closet. You know it's there. You are aware. And once you know that your thoughts and your emotions and your actions carry this energetic weight, you can't keep pretending that you're powerless. That's where mindfulness enters. Does this make sense? If you're here with me live right now, I want to know if this is resonating with you. Tell me. Every thought you entertain is like a vote for the future that you're building, whether it's lack or abundance, whether it's not good enough or you're fully worthy, right? Every belief you reinforce, whether that's empowering or limiting, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I can look back on every choice that I have made, and I just turned 54. So, and I'm thinking about it from, my adult life, but I can go back to high school and middle school and grade school and just see these patterns. Every action that you take, even the tiny ones, it adds up to momentum in a specific direction. So, are you limiting yourself or are you empowering yourself? And the question is not what's going to happen to me. It's actually what am I choosing consciously or unconsciously? This is the key. What am I choosing consciously or unconsciously to happen through me? And when you take responsibility for your choices, it doesn't mean that you start controlling every single outcome, right? Because control is force. All it does is all it feels like this. You're pounding your head against the wall. It actually means that you start owning your energy. You start asking yourself better questions. You pause and take a breath before reacting. And this one's big. You notice where you're moving from old conditioning instead of the actual truth. And you recognize when you're in fear instead of faith, really. And little by little by little by little by little, that awareness reshapes your life because you're always going to go back into your old patterns. Those are neural pathways, they don't go away, right? Thoughts that wire together, fire together. So you're always going to go back there. But awareness helps you understand quicker and quicker and quicker each time that that is an old pattern. And awareness clears that static and it brings you back to the power of who you really are. So let's talk about what it actually means to empower and illuminate your life. And this truly is by opening your mind. And I don't mean to sit here and sound like super woo or esoteric. It's just when you open your mind, you stop assuming that you already know how things have to go. You stop deciding that certain things are impossible, right? 100% possible, 100% of the time. I know you've heard me say that before. You release the need to predict or control every single outcome. Again, that is force. We don't control. And when we give up that control and start allowing, that's when everything changes. So instead, what if we started participating. What does that look like? Maybe you start to become curious. You could start asking things like, what else could be true? Or what if this challenge is actually leading me to something better, right? We don't have to fall into that black hole. We have the choice. And the choice could be to look at your challenge as medicine, right? What is this taking me through so that I'm going to come out on the other side to something better? Or what if there's a version of me who already knows how to handle this situation with grace and dignity and power? And that's the kind of empowerment that changes your trajectory, right? You don't get powerful by doing, because doing is what society conditions us to do, right? We have to hustle and do and post 3 times a day, and then you got to go live and blah, 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 right? All it does is burn us out. So we do not get more powerful by doing more. We get more powerful by aligning more deeply with awareness. By understanding that the energy behind what you're doing is what creates the result. It's not just the action itself. Thoughts create emotions, emotions create actions. What are you creating from? You could post the same content you've been doing, sell the same product that you have, or have the same conversation. But when your energy is empowered, everything about how it's received by your audience changes. So if you're posting something and you're like, nobody's going to see this anyways, nobody's going to come, and believe me, I have done this recently, especially about this podcast. Like, oh God, do I want to continue it? Nobody's listening anyways. Nobody's showing up, even though they tell me how important it is to them. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can give all these, all these examples. Or I could say, I'm showing up in my power, and whoever hears it, it's meant for them. It's different. And so everything about how my audience is receiving the words that I am called to speak changes. So what if you did that with your own product, whatever it is that you sell? Instead of saying, I'm going to post this and nobody's buying, what if you said, I cannot wait for the perfect people to buy my product? Totally different. It feels different in your body, right? When you say no one's going to buy this, how does it feel in your body? Pretty sucky, right? Sucktastic. But when you say, I can't wait for the perfect people to buy my product, how does that feel? Super enlightening, right? That heaviness is released from your chest. Your throat doesn't feel constricted anymore. Your stomach doesn't feel like it's, yucky, whatever. And that's what true empowerment looks like. You start realizing that the external strategy doesn't matter nearly as much as the internal alignment behind it. So if you want to work intentionally with this 11-11 energy, I'm going to give you something simple to do. So sometime today or tomorrow, I want you to just take a pause and I want you to reflect. Find a quiet space. And I understand, we don't have a lot of those. I don't want you to have any distractions. And I have 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself. Okay. So you don't have to write them all down now. You can re-listen and rewind, whatever. But the first question is, what experiences have shaped who I am right now, and what did each one teach me? And maybe you'll come up with a whole bunch, or maybe you just want to talk about 1 or 2 that were really, really big experiences. So what experiences have shaped who I am right now, and what did each one teach me? The second one is, what parts of my old identity am I still carrying, even though they don't fit where I'm going? And what Sedona taught me was how easy it is to slip back into the old pattern of lack, the old pattern of unworthy, the old pattern of I don't fit in. It's so easy. And they don't fit where I'm going. So the understanding that I have the choice, the awareness gives me the choice. Do I want to sit in that and feel like crap in my body, and tell myself I'm not worthy, tell myself no one cares? Or do I want to bring this message out into the world because I know that it helps people? There's a huge difference there. So what is my choice? What parts of my old identity am I still carrying, even though they don't fit where I'm going? And the third question is, what choices can I make today? Just today, right now, in the moment, or in the moment that you are giving yourself space to answer these questions, what choices can I make today that align with the future version of me I want to become? Because obviously, we know this, we've heard this, the present moment carries all of the power. The past is gone. The future isn't here yet. We cannot predict it. So, what are you going to do in the present moment that aligns with the future version, future version, future version of you that you want to become? Because it is about choice. We get to choose. Are we sitting in the lack hole, or are we aligning with the future version that we want to be? And, because so many of us are prone to overthinking, I don't want you to overthink this. Just take your pencil or your pen and just start writing and be honest. Do you want to change or don't you? It starts with being honest with yourself. It's looking into the shadow parts of yourself. And the point here is not to fix yourself. It's just to become consciously aware of what's already happening. Because once you're aware, you get to choose. You get to choose differently. You get to choose lack hole or freedom, right? And we can choose with intention. We can step into a new version of ourselves that is not reacting to life, but consciously creating it. What a concept. And that's what this 1111 portal really is. It's not some mystical doorway in the sky, right? It literally is just an invitation to walk through the doorway inside yourself. The doorway that says, I choose to step into my power. I choose not to fall back into that lack hole. So, after this episode ends, I want you to go back to your normal day, but noticing, right? Noticing how you speak about your business. Are you excited about it? Does it actually light you up, or are you just going through the motions? Notice the stories that you tell yourself about what's possible. What's possible for you? And if you're here live with me, put it in the comments. What is possible for you? Notice how you respond to frustration or delays. Notice where you give your power away by saying, I can't, or I don't know how. Notice where you're saying, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. That noticing is the work. That's how you stay awake to your own energy. And the more awake you are, the more intentional your life becomes. Because when you see the connection between your thoughts and your results, you stop living from default. You stop chasing. You get off that hamster wheel and you start aligning. And from that place, creation feels natural again. Whether you're creating a piece of art, you're upcycling, you're creating a program, a membership group, whatever it is that you do, you stop needing to prove yourself. You stop worrying about missing out or being behind, and you realize you are exactly where you need to be. That's huge, right? And then knowing that you're exactly where you need to be, your next choice is always the most powerful one you can make. So, as we move into this 1111 energy, remember, you are not waiting for an external sign. You are the sign. You are the sign. What? You are the sign. I am the sign. You are the sign. And every experience that led you here has been shaping your awareness for this exact moment. And now you get to use that awareness to shape what comes next. Doesn't that feel powerful? Choosing with intention, thinking with awareness, speaking with alignment, and acting from the energy of possibility. Because when you do, you stop trying to create your future from old patterns because you're aware of them now. And now it's a choice. You stop trying to create your future from old patterns and you start creating it from the version of you who already exists in that future. And that's what it means to open your mind. That's what it means to step into your power. And that's what it means to illuminate your own life. So thank you so much for spending this time with me today, whether you were live with me, you're watching the replay on YouTube, listening on Apple or Spotify. I want you to take what resonates with you, reflect on what surfaced, especially what you felt in your body, and move into this new energetic doorway. Because every thought, every word, and every action you take is an opportunity to align with your next evolution. Because we are always creating, we are always powerful, even though we forget it. And you're exactly where you're meant to be right now. And with that, I will leave you. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week, Monday.